Hello, my uncanny friends. I am JADe, and today I'm answering a question that no one asked. How many stairs did Mirabelle have to climb in order to get up to the top of Bruno's tower? So the question I'm going to ask all of you before I get into exactly how many steps I believe that Mirabelle climbed to the top of Bruno's tower, I'm going to give you a couple of landmarks around the world that may be the amount of stairs that she climbed up. So we have Big Ben or Victoria Tower with 334 steps. We have Washington Monument with 896 steps. We have the Empire State Building with 1,576 steps. And we have the Eiffel Tower with 1,665 steps. Which one of these do you think is the closest to the amount of steps that Mirabelle had to climb to get to the top of Bruno's tower? So, in order for me to figure out exactly how many stairs she had to climb, I had a few methods. So, at first I was looking at stacking Mirabelles on top of themselves, because we know, according to Disney, that Mirabelle is 5'2" tall. So, stack her on top of herself on the side of the house, and we know roughly how many Mirabelles tall Bruno's tower is. Except,
It's bigger on the inside!
so if it is bigger on the inside, then we have to ignore the entire outside. And from the images we see, it's deep, it's tall. There's a bunch of stairs. It circles around and around all the way up to the top. Not only that, but we see the steps aren't even. So originally I was going to just say, oh, the standard step size is this. That's how many steps are in any of those monuments, those landmarks, because they have standard size stairs. But Bruno's tower doesn't. So how am I going to figure out exactly how many steps there are? If I look at the greater picture, from far away, yeah, I can count each step, but there's entire swaths of stairs that they're not showing here, and I can't extrapolate from what's showing on screen the remainder of that area because it zigzags and moves so much around the exterior. So how can I find out exactly how many steps Mirabelle has to climb and get to your future awaits? So what I ended up doing is I looked at Mirabelle being 5'2", and I took the three images we see of her climbing stairs, where we see her body from the side and the stairs from the side. And what I did is I created a tape measure of sorts that goes from the top of her head to the bottom of her foot and broke it up into 62 separate slices, because she's 5'2", which is 5 times 12 is 60, and 2 for 2 inches, it's 62 inches. So I created a tape measure that's 62 sections for her height, and then I took a section of that using the exact same scale and put it up next to every single step that we see in these three images. And of course I made sure to normalize it because she does change heights a little bit in those as the shots differ a little bit in distance. So I adjusted those accordingly. And then I measured how many inches each step height was that we're able to see. And with that, I got a bunch of numbers. 33 total steps are seen on screen. And here is my data that I collected, including the average height of a stair in inches, the total number of steps that we see, which is 33. And we also wanted to point out that there's such variety here. We have one stair that's 13 inches tall, and another that's only 5¼ inches tall. So you can see such high variety there. Like, that would be tiring on its own. We know from how big this looks and how varied those stairs are, your body can't get into an automatically just step the same height every time. If you've done that in real life and one stair is slightly taller, you trip. If one's slightly slower, you kind of get that feeling like you're falling. I imagine that must have happened all the time to Mirabelle while she's climbing the tower. So once I have all that data, I have the average of 7.734 or 735 if we round up inches per stair that we see. That's great. That only matters if I know the total height she has to climb to. In order to find the height, I decided there's one very quick, like couple of second long segment of video that shows me exactly how tall Bruno's Tower stairs are. It's right here. So as you can see, we don't have the height there. What we do have is an object falling in free fall and landing and hitting the ground seconds later. With this, that's enough information to determine the height from the point where the free fall started to the ground. So I plugged it into a nifty calculator I found online, and what I did is I timed it multiple times. I timed it about, I think I timed it about 20 times because I know I'm going to be a little off every time I time it. So I took the average of my 20 attempts at measuring the start of the fall, the end of the fall. And the average I got was 7.37 seconds for the length of fall for this boulder, this rock, this cliff edge. When I plug that in, we're using Earth's normal gravitational force, which we're assuming that this is taking place on Earth and that the rooms are not special when it comes to gravitational pull and that they're falling in the same rate. So with 7.3 second fall, we get a height of 10,485.57 inches. That's pretty tall. That is very tall.
Bruno, your room is the worst!
We can now calculate exactly how many steps that are on average 7.7-ish height goes into that 10,500-ish inches from ground to that ledge that Mirabelle lands on. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, I wanted you to guess which of these buildings, these monuments, these national landmarks might be closest to the height that Mirabelle had to climb, stairs to stairs. Washington Monument being 896. That's actually also low. Pretty far low. Next we have between the Empire State Building and the Eiffel Tower. Empire State Building having 1576 and Eiffel Tower having 1665. Not a whole lot of difference there. So, the number of stairs that I found estimated to be the height of Bruno's Tower is just shy of the Empire State Building at 1,356 with rounding. So, stairs. Bruno's Tower, 1,356 stairs.
Which was, a lot of stairs. And
So it looks like Luisa's not the only super strong light person who's not skipping her leg day. Mirabelle climbed, essentially, the Empire State Building. More closely, there is another building that we found in the States that is actually even closer to that. And it's actually because they have a race that goes up this building. So in Atlanta, there's a Bank of America building that is the tallest building, I believe, in the Southeast. And it is 1,378 steps. And they have a race every year climbing up and down those stairs. So Mirabelle may be a contender to win the Bank of America building race, which is a lot closer, only about 20 steps difference between the Bank of America building and those stairs. So if you ever want to take the Mirabelle challenge, the Bruno's Tower challenge, that is at the Bank of America building in Atlanta. Sign up for it and see if you can climb Bruno's Tower. I think they should rename it to Bruno's Tower. Thank you for joining me and answering another question that no one asked. I'm JADe, and this is the Uncanny J-Man.